My dear, my mom's words about you still echo, half love, half warning, all tangled in silence. She whispered caution, but my heart screamed your name louder than her fears. My mother saw storms in you I couldn't yet recognize in myself. Her doubts were shadows, but I chose to dance with your light instead. She said you'd break me. I believed you'd make me whole instead. Mom's words felt like armor, but your touch was the vulnerability I craved. She warned me of the fire in you. Fire I now carry inside me. Her voice cracked when she spoke your name, like she mourned a dream lost. I wish I heard her truth before falling deep into your silence. Mom said you were dangerous, but she never said how much I'd crave danger. Her warnings were prayers disguised as fears. I hope she's forgiven me. She saw the cracks in your smile. I only saw the promises behind it. Mom's voice still lingers, reminding me love can be the kindest poison. She said you'd leave scars. I never knew they'd become my map back to myself. Her eyes told stories about you I wasn't ready to read. Mom's words haunted me, but your love was a ghost I welcomed. She warned me not to lose myself. I lost her words in your embrace. My mother saw your edges before I felt your depth. She said love should heal, not hurt. I learned both in you. Her voice was a gentle warning drowned out by my reckless hope. Mom saw the darkness I ignored, blinded by your light. She said love's weight should never crush the soul. Mine almost broke. I wish I had heard her heartache hidden in every word about you. Mom's doubts planted seeds of caution. Your love made me wildflowers. Her fears were loud, but my love for you was louder. She whispered truth about you, but I chose to believe in fairy tales. Mom said love should feel safe. I never found safety in your arms. Her words were heavy. My heart was heavier. She saw a storm brewing in your eyes. I was drawn to the rain. Mom warned me, but my soul wanted the storm, not the calm. Her caution was a prayer. I lived the answer in heartbreak. She said you'd leave me empty. Instead, you filled me with questions. Mom's fears were love disguised as warnings. I only heard love. She saw the cracks you tried to hide. I embraced every broken piece. Her voice trembled with truth. I ignored it for your lies. Mom said some love stories burn too bright. Mine turned to ashes. She warned love could shatter. I never knew it could heal too. Her doubts echoed in my silence, breaking me more than you ever could. Mom saw a future I couldn't, one without you. She said you'd steal my light. I gave it willingly. Her warnings were a map I chose not to follow. Mom saw love's weight. I learned how heavy it could be. She said love should feel like home, yours was a beautiful exile. Her voice carried a wisdom I only understood after losing you. Mom warned me to guard my heart. I opened it anyway. She saw the mask you wore. I fell for the man underneath. Her doubts were loud. My love was deaf. Mom said you were a lesson disguised as a lover. She warned me of storms. I wanted the rain anyway. Her voice held a truth I couldn't accept then. Mom said love can blind. I chose to walk in darkness. She saw your edges. I touched every sharp corner. Her caution was love's echo. I silenced it with hope. Mom warned love could break you. I broke beautifully. She said some love stories leave scars. Mine left wisdom. Her doubts were prayers. I lived through their answers. Mom saw the storm in your eyes. I danced in the rain. She said love should heal, not haunt. I lived both. Her voice was a gentle warning. I chose the wild instead. Mom warned me of pain. I embraced it like a gift. She saw the truth I ignored, the truth about you. Her fears were love's shadow. I walked toward the light anyway. Mom said love could hurt. I learned how deeply she warned me to guard my heart. I gave it all. Her words were heavy. My love was heavier. Mom saw a future without you. I was lost in your past. She said love should feel safe. I never found safety with you. Her doubts were loud. My heart was louder. Mom warned love could shatter. I learned to rebuild. She saw the cracks you hid. I held every broken piece. Her voice trembled with truth. I chose silence. Mom said love can blind. I chose darkness. She saw your edges. I touched every sharp corner. Her caution was love's echo. I silenced it. Mom warned love could break. I broke beautifully. She said love leaves scars. Mine left wisdom. Her doubts were prayers. I lived their answers. Mom saw storms. I danced in the rain. She said love heals and haunts. I lived both. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. Mom's words were warnings. I turned them into love songs. She said love could tear me apart. I chose to be whole. Her voice was a shield. I chose to be vulnerable. Mom saw danger. I found my wildness. Mom said your love was a mirage. I drank it like water, thirsty for forever. She warned me your smile hid storms. I danced despite the thunder. Mom's voice broke when she spoke your name, like a secret no one should hear. She said you'd break me gently. I never felt a gentler shatter. Her fears were silent prayers begging me to wake before the fall. Mom's words carved warnings into my soul. Your love rewrote the story. She said your touch could burn. I asked for flames anyway. Mom saw the ending before I met you. Still, I chose to begin. She warned me love could be a battlefield. I stepped in barefoot. Mom's doubts were a lullaby I refused to sleep through. She said you'd steal my peace. I traded it for passion. Her voice trembled with fear. My heart beat reckless in response. Mom saw the cracks beneath your kindness. I held the fractures anyway. She whispered, "Be careful," but I heard, "Be brave." Mom said love is sacred. Mine was wild and unholy. She warned me your words could wound. I bled beautifully. Mom's eyes begged me to see clearly. I chose rose-colored blindness. She said love can suffocate. I gasped for every breath. Mom said you'd leave a mark. I wear it like a tattoo. Her doubts echoed louder than your promises ever did. She saw danger wrapped in your arms. I found safety in your hold. Mom said love should be a sanctuary. Ours was a battlefield. She warned me not to lose myself. I lost her warnings instead. Mom's words were anchors. Your love was a storm at sea. She said you'd disappear. I watched you vanish like smoke. Mom saw a love that would break me. I broke and rebuilt stronger. Her voice was a whisper in the storm. I chose the storm. She said your love was a test. I failed beautifully. Mom warned me your silence was louder than any word. She said love should never hurt. I lived with beautiful pain. Her fears felt like chains. I chose to fly anyway. Mom saw shadows behind your eyes. I found light in your soul. She said you'd leave me empty. I filled the void with memories. Mom's voice was a fragile shield. Your love was a sword. She warned me your love could blind. I chose darkness over doubt. Mom said love is patient. Mine was impatient and fierce. She said you'd make me disappear. I became someone new instead. Her doubts were loud prayers for my heart's survival. Mom saw danger in your smile. I fell for the man behind it. She warned me your love was a flame. I danced in the fire. Mom's words were a compass I refused to follow. She said love should be a home. Ours was a beautiful exile. Mom said you'd break me. I broke, but never shattered. Her voice held warnings I silenced with hope. She said you'd leave scars. I wear them like armor. Mom saw the storm before I heard the thunder. She warned me love could be a prison. I chose my own chains. Mom said your love was a secret. I lived with the truth. She said you'd vanish like smoke. I watched you disappear. Her doubts were love's silent prayers. I ignored the warnings. Mom's voice was a fragile lullaby I refused to hear. She said love could break bones. Mine healed with every scar. Mom warned me your love was a wild tide. I drowned willingly. She said you'd leave me lost. I found myself instead. Her fears were storms I chased in your eyes. Mom said love should be kind. Ours was fierce and raw. She warned me your touch was fire. I embraced the burn. Mom's doubts were whispers drowned out by my heart's roar. She said you'd leave me empty. I filled that space with memories. Mom saw darkness behind your smile. I found light in your soul. She warned me love could be cruel. I loved anyway. Mom said your love was a puzzle. I became the missing piece. She said you'd break me softly. I broke beautifully. Her voice, I held warnings I turned into prayers. Mom saw a storm in your eyes. I danced in the rain. She said love should heal. Ours cut deep. Mom said your silence was louder than words. I learned to listen. She warned me your love was a wildfire. I burned brightly. Her doubts echoed louder than your promises. Mom said you'd leave scars. I wear them proudly. She said love should be a refuge. Ours was a battleground. Mom warned me your love was a storm. I chased the rain. She said you'd disappear. I held on to memories instead. Her fears were prayers. I lived the answers. Mom said your love was a secret. I lived with the truth. She said you'd leave me broken. I rebuilt stronger. Her voice was a fragile shield. I chose vulnerability. Mom saw danger behind your eyes. I found courage instead. She warned me love could blind. I chose to see anyway. Mom said your love was a mirage. I drank it like water. She said love should be gentle. Mine was fierce. Her doubts were silent prayers. I shouted love. Mom warned me your love was a lesson. I learned it well. She said you'd leave me lost. I found myself again. Her voice trembled with truth. I chose hope.